Welcome to the whiskey pick of the week. As you know, I'm Eric, the whiskey guy, and today we have a doozy. We are trying the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style. Oh, the stories, the legends, the folk tales that come along with Prohibition. We will be here all day. But I am very excited to try this bottle. It's been on my list for the longest. I was going to do it a couple weeks ago. And for some reason, I just kept putting it off. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it next week. I said this last week, I'm going to do it next week. And then at the beginning of the week, they dropped the Old Forester 1924, the purple top, and that has all the buzz going on in the bourbon society right now. So I'm very excited to try this one. If I get my hands on the 1924, I don't know if I would save it, collect it, keep it for a rainy day, because I got an idea that that's probably not going to be around as much because it is so limited, but we'll see. Now, I also came across an article on my phone. You know how your phone, you can just turn on your phone and you get news articles that come up. It can be anywhere from Apple News to the New York Times. Now, I came across an interesting article that listed the 20 best bourbons in the United States. I was like, let me at least entertain me, right? At least entertain me. So I got that list. I actually wrote them down, and I'm kind of intrigued to see what you guys think about this list. If you agree with it, if you disagree with it, I'm kind of on the fence with it. I feel like it could have went in numerous directions, but that's the good thing about bourbon hunting, bourbon testing, collecting. It's a rabbit hole. It will always be a rabbit hole. I remember probably a couple years ago, somebody told me, they was like, "Wow, you're really a whiskey guy." And usually when I hear stuff like that, you kind of laugh it off, and you say something like, "Oh, I try." But the first thing that came out my mouth was, one thing that I noticed is, once you think you're a whiskey guy, you're halfway there. You always are learning. You're always finding out new stuff every day. So it is truly a rabbit hole. And this list that I'm going to bring out today probably going to take you down one, too. Because you probably, the way that you thought about whiskey, it may have you second guessing. Because it did for a second for me. Because when I'm looking at the list, I was like, wait, hold up. So we're going to dive into that, then we're going to dive into the review. Now, this article is from the Yahoo Finance. It just popped up on my phone. I do not look at finances. I'm not checking the stocks. I think because I do so much research on bourbons that they always send it to me. Like last week before the Stapleton drop, I got an article that came out. I also got another article like the other day on it. I knew he stopped drinking way before he made Tennessee whiskey, but I guess that's some type of discrepancy that's going on right now. But anyway, now this is what Yahoo Finance, this is how they started off the ranking, right? They said to collect data for this article, we referred to a number of sources. So they're like, hey, we asked around, such as Liqueur, Vine Pair, Men's Journal, that's a little fishy, and Reddit. So once I seen Reddit, I'm like, okay, Reddit, that may hold a little bit of weight, just a little bit. They also signed them a points. Now, it's probably one of the vaguest, most blandish point scale that I ever even heard of. But this is what they did. They assigned them a score based on the number of appearances and ranked them accordingly. A number of appearances. So I don't know if they just hashtag bourbon on these these other magazines and stuff and websites to see how many times they came up. I don't know. But this is the list that they came out. Please don't shoot the messenger. And I want to know your thoughts on it. Coming in, number 20 in the USA, based off of Yahoo Finances and Friends, number 20 with a ranking of 8. They gave him an 8. Evan Williams. That's number 20. Now I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say what I like about it, what I don't like about it. I'm just reading them off. Evan Williams. But I will say Evan Williams is one of my go-to everyday type bourbons. I love an Evan Williams. If I'm at a bar and I want to just drink Wells with a little bit of whiskey, with a little bit of ginger ale, if they got Evan Williams, the black label, I'm getting Evan Williams every time. So I am a Evan Williams fan and an investor because I do spend a lot of money with Evan Williams. That's number 20. Number 19, King of Kentucky. I never heard of King of Kentucky, but they gave them an 8. That's number 19. Number 18 is where it get a little interesting. Stag Jr. They gave them an 8. That's at 18. 19. Blanton's. They gave them a 9. And that's 7. Oh, is that? Yeah, 17. That's 17. See, looking at these numbers and looking at the names is kind of throwing me off. But that was 17. 16. Eagle Rare. They gave them a 9. So they gave Blanton's a 9. They gave Eagle Rare a 9. Number 15. Willett. Gave them a 9. 14. Booker's. Gave them a 10. 13. Colonel E.H. Taylor. Gave them 11. Number 12. Pappy Van Winkle. Gave him 11. Number 11. Mitchers. Gave him 11. Number 10. Maker's Mark. They gave him a 12. Maker's Mark. Number 9. Wild Turkey. They gave him a 12. Number 8. Woodford Reserve. They gave him a 13. Number 7. Four Roses. Gave him a 13. Number 6. Knob Creek. Gave him a 14. Number 5. Old Forester. They gave them 16. Number 4. Elijah Craig. They gave him a 16. Number 3. Russell Reserves. They gave him an 18. Number 2. George T. Stagg. Gave him a 19. Number 1. W.L. Whaler. With a whopping 30 points. I don't know. I don't know what I like about. I don't know what I like about that quote unquote power ranking. I don't know what I like about it. I know a lot that I disagree with it, but that's kind of like that's a rabbit hole, because that will have you that'll have you scratching out your hair if you look at that. If you base your bourbons that you want, bourbons that you want to try off this list, I don't know. I don't know where they got their information from. I don't know. Men's Journal. Who are they asking? The same people that's looking for New Balances? I don't know. But let's jump into Old Forester. Old Forester been around since 1870. They like to brand their bottles based off decades, which is a good strategy. I like it, especially back then. That had to be great marketing. I know for sure I believe they got an 1870. I know they got an 1880. They may have an 1890. I know they got a 1910, a 1920, 1930. They brought out the 1924. So they like to do it. Now, if I was a bourbon nerd or OCD, I would have to have them in the order, chronological order or whatever. I would have had to drink them like that. But we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna go back to the future. 1920. We're gonna skip all that 1870, and let's see what this is. Now, what I do know about this, during the Prohibition, this was one of the only distilleries still able to operate under a medical card. You had to have a doctor's note to get bourbon. This bourbon, there's only like 5 of them legally. So everybody else drinking bathtub, rock gut. People that had medical insurance, they was drinking Old Forester. So anytime you got to have a medical card, I'm always thinking it's gonna be a little stronger than if you didn't have to have one. So let's see how this is. It's 115 proof. We just gonna jump right in. It has a nice smell to it. It has a very nice smell to it. It smells like, if I was back in 1920, it smells like a good relief that for a moment, I'm not thinking about this depression. That's what this smells like. Now, fun fact, Old Forester is the only distillery that is owned and still operated from the founding family. A guy named George Brown. His family still owns it to this day, and they're the only one. So you gotta tip your hat off to that. Ooh. As the kids would say, that's some gas. That's some gas. That's potent. This is a potent drink. It tastes a little stronger than 115. It's 115. You can tell they had a doctor putting it a little bit. This is one that if I was back in 1920 and I went to the doctor, I'm having every bourbon symptom that I can come up with. Mr. Elliott, can you call for me? I would have been doing broke leg, doc. I need Old Forester. If I got a respiratory infection, I need Old Forester. If I got a rug burn, I need Old Forester. I would break the law for Old Forester in 1920. They told me that it's illegal to have Old Forester without a medical card, and I didn't have a medical card, I'm gonna take that $5 fine. I'm gonna take that $5 fine. If that's, hopefully that's all they was. This probably was like an $8 bottle in 1920. Now it's a 13 because I'm paying the fine because it's that good. It's that good. I'm not worried about the Great Depression. I got Old Forester. That's what I would have been thinking. But this is it's a great drink. It's a great drink. I believe a lot of people, including myself, ooh, it's strong, have been sleeping on Old Forester. You see them in the stores every time. They usually have them in order, and I always just walk by them. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. It's the price on it is about $55 for the Prohibition, but all the ones that got numbers in it, you can kind of expect to pay $50 and up. The 1924 may be double. I'm pretty much gonna go out on a limb and say that's gonna be the lowest, and this will be, you better grab it right then if you can find it for 115. That's the suggested price on it, 115. So if you can find it at 115, grab it. But this one right here is about 55. A lot of people, they kind of go back and forth with the 1910 and the 1920. I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna just stick, as far as Old Foresters go, I'm gonna stick to the 1920 as like an everyday drink or a go-to. This will be mine. Now I also got another one, but I'm probably not gonna open that one. I got the Old Forester single barrel, but I'm probably just gonna keep this. I'm gonna collect them. I think Old Forester, for some reason, they got. I need to hold on to them for some reason. But this one I crack open. I drink this all day. Now I hope you guys really enjoyed the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition. I could be here for hours talking about the Prohibition, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to bore you guys. So I appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you next week. We're gonna do it all again. Have a wonderful day.